What it do, my fly Combinator crew? It's your boy Codehova. We're pimping swift. We're going to be talking about characters and strings. So what I have here is just a quick example of, characters are just a single character. That's all it could be. It can't be your name where it has two letters. It can't be more than one letter. All right. It can't be your name. But if we see here, we just assign the letter A constant into quote unquote the letter A. But if we do the option hover and we click on it, it's a string. That's the case because most of the time, 99% of the time, you're going to be using strings instead of characters. I mean, characters are so limited in what you could do with them. So the only way to make this into a character is to explicitly declare to the compiler, yo, I'm trying to make this a character. So you do what I say, right? So we got ABC as a character. And you might be wondering, why do I even have to explicitly declare what a value is going to be if I'm going to make it, equal to A, just like that. All right, but there's times when you might be like illest letter, right? And it's going to be a character. And you don't assign it to anything. So in the future, like in some other application, in some other screen, you're going to be like, illest character or illest letter is going to be equal into Nas, okay? But when you do this, it's going to be like, you can't make this value of a string go into a value that's declared that it should be a character. You see, that's what makes code safe. When you say that this is supposed to be a character and a character only, this type of shit isn't going to happen because the computer is going to remind you, hey, this ain't going to work. So when you read that, you're like, what's going on? And then when you look back on it, then you're going to be like, okay, it's just supposed to be a single character. All right. So that is characters. And what we need to talk about are strings. So it's like, let full name. All right. It's going to be Young Jeezy. You dig? So that's a string. And with type inference, the compiler knows that this full name constant value is a string. And so let's just work on with strings, okay? So we'll just rename this as Jeezy. We'll make the next one Jigga. All right. So we got Young Jeezy and Jay-Z. What can we do with strings? Well, first of all, you could add strings together. So it's like, let's make a constant for the features on Go Crazy Remix. All right. So that's going to be Jeezy plus Jigga. But if we print it out, right, Go Crazy Remix, we're going to see an issue. It's going to be Young Jeezy, Jay-Z, but it's supposed to have like a space in between. So what you could do is you could create a space on the fly. Boom. So now we see Young Jeezy and Jay-Z. Maybe instead of having just a space, why don't we add a ampersand, an and symbol? And now when it runs, it says Young Jeezy and Jay-Z. Boom. So that you could add strings together just like you do addition on numbers. But there's another way we could rock with it, you dig? And that's going to be something called string interpolation. And what string interpolation could be, it is, let's do it one more time. So let Go Crazy Remix equal, so we declare we're going to have a string. And you declare a string by having the two apostrophes, two quotes, quote symbols. And inside, we have a reverse backslash, open parentheses, close parentheses, and within the parentheses, we have Jeezy, the constant value we want to put in here. So as you see, Young Jeezy prints out. And because we're doing string interpolation, we don't need to do this plus symbol thingy. Just imagine that this is a string that's going to be built on the fly. So we put in the and symbol, and then again, reverse backslash, open parentheses, jigga, close parentheses, and boom, there you have it. We're going to have Young Jeezy and Jay-Z on the bottom. So this is identical to this. You know, there's going to be times when you're working on a project. When it's your project, you do what you feel. You could mix them both if you like. But sometimes when you get into a project in a company, you know, they have something called coding conventions. Sometimes they're going to use this method, and sometimes they'll use this. And in my experience, every single place that I did my work, right, it was string interpolation. Because I guess when you have add symbols and you have strings within amongst add symbols, after a while it could get real confusing, and there could be bugs, right? This one, it's a lot simpler and easy for you to read and exactly see how it's going to be built. So when you have characters and strings, you could add them together just like numbers, and that's how you rock with it. Let me just make sure I talked about everything I need to. Yeah. I guess just one more thing I could add is, you know, we had constant values, string values, where it's just very simple. Young Jeezy, Jay-Z. But let's say we had a whole verse, right? Let me just Google a verse real quick. Hold up. Yo, there's dogs in my hood. That's going crazy. But anyways, it's like, let's have... Damn, Inspector Deck had a 16 bar verse for real? Alright. So, Inspector Deck. When we make it equal, bam. You see, this is pretty difficult to work with, right? So what we do is we have a multi-line string, and you start it with 3 quotes, and you end it with 3 quotes. And it's a little hairy, all right, because my font is so big, right? My font is a little big, but hey, we're coding. So let me print out IDEC, and once I print it out, you see, this is that one string. This one string value, a constant that I named IDEC, because I used a multi-line string, I was able to keep the look, the organized look of whatever I, created. And it prints exactly like the way I distinguished it to be in the code. So these are characters and strings. This is how you work with them. So let's move on. Let's pimp Swift. And the more we progress in these videos, man, I promise you, you're going to be closer to that bag. It's your boy Codehova. You dig? Fly Combinator.